True Talk, brought to you by TRULAND Equipment. Join us as we explore cutting-edge machinery, groundbreaking technology, and inspirational stories from the field.
From the dedicated efforts of our team members to the triumphs and challenges of our farmers, True Talk brings you along every step of the way.
Whether you're a seasoned agriculturalist or simply curious about the industry, tune in to discover the fascinating intersection of technology, agriculture, and green machines.
True Talk, cultivating true conversations.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Hi, Justin.
Morning.
We got Justin on today. It's a big day.
It is a big day. It's a big day because we are breaking out some new gear, so
We are.
we have some sound effects that Josh will probably play throughout the episode.
Yeah, we do, don't we? That's the applause for the new sound effects, right? In our new soundboard.
Yeah,
Too much fun. We're having way too much fun with it already.
you're having too much fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
And if I ask you guys if it's fun, you know what response I get?
Pretty accurate.
much.
Yeah.
Get crickets. Anyway, what you going to do? What are we going to talk about today?
We are going to talk some more agronomy. So our last episode was kind of mid to 70% of harvest, and we did a little agronomic debrief of what people are seeing. And I know in that episode we kind of dipped our toes into soil testing in that season that was going to be upcoming. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about that.
We're going to put people to sleep. You know that. Which I love talking about soil testing, and I'm going to hear a lot of.
You mean to tell me that we're the only nerds?
Evidently.
I would prefer talking tissue test, but I guess soil test is fine. But I kind of want to transition that into not so much the deer on deer solution, the green on green, but talking about the web-based ecosystem that Deere has created and how Deere solutions can kind of help us maximize our profit.
Sure.
I think that this is a really high-stress time in agriculture, and people are trying to make their dollars stretch as much as they can, as best they can. Kind of, what does Deere offer to help with that?
Right. And I know what you're getting into, and we've got some great tools out there. And this is the year I've already heard people talk about checking into their financial softwares to see what's paying and what's not paying, because this is the year you're going to scrutinize that stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. So.
I mean, this is a year that you're going to be, the next couple years probably. I mean, ag is very cyclical. We see this. We're expecting a downswing for a couple years running. But yeah, I think that this is going to be where the proof is in the pudding. And if it's not paying out, you're not putting it on.
That's right. It's real easy to spend money when the markets are good on things like, and I'm a big foliar feed guy and some things like that, but there's certain things that are going to get cut off and cut out of the equation. If you can't prove that something's going to pay this year, it's going to be lopped off the list.
Yeah.
Very quickly. So, and that's what we deal with in the cyclical nature of farming. So, and we do have those tools, and we'll get into some of that with Justin here in a little bit. And we also have some, I know we're going to get into maybe a little bit of AutoPath boundaries and a couple things that we have at our disposal, some really cool little technology things that are going to be ready to roll out here.
Yeah, I think this is just going to be a winter web platform. What are we going to do? What are we going to do now, and where are we going to go?
Yeah.
And how are we going to get there?
Boundary, can we talk about boundary program first or not?
I think that's a great start.
I do too.
Wait, first you want to introduce Justin.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. I'm here.
Do I need to introduce Justin? We got teammate Justin. We've been teasing Justin a lot about whether he's going to be on the podcast or not. So
It's finally happening.
Today's a big day. Yeah.
How did you feel when you got asked to come on the podcast?
Considering it was only a couple days ago, a little nervous.
We're not supposed to do inside jokes, right? But inside joke, we just told Justin he was never going to be on our podcast, right? He gave us some attitude.
You told me I had to go through and listen to all of them, so I've listened to all of them.
That's right.
Because he constantly craps on. He's like, I'm not a podcast listener.
Justin, have you listened to one? No.
Well, then you can't be on the podcast.
Right.
So since you listened to all of them, what was your favorite episode so far? And it can't be this one.
Well, obviously, this one hasn't aired yet.
Have you found some goodness in the podcast or not?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's been good.
Have we converted you to the podcasting world? At least ours.
I do enjoy listening to it.
Did you follow us?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'd followed it before I'd listened to any of them, but I just hadn't gotten around to it. I don't know. It's
That you're not the only one. Right?
yeah. It's just
trust me.
I don't know. I like to sit and listen to music most of the time, but podcasts, if you can get value out of them, I really do enjoy them. Josh joked about putting people to sleep, but I think that's a big thing is not being boring during podcasts. I've listened to some before that are boring. This one has not been so far. I don't know. I've enjoyed a few of them.
I figured you'd like hearing Carrie's intern wrap up.
I did. Yeah, I did enjoy that one. That one was fun.
Because his name was mentioned.
Yeah, I did joke about that a little bit. I did get mentioned in that one.
Yeah.
Little spotlight.
That's good. We love you, Justin.
Well, thanks.
Then we got Justin, and then we've got Courtney back with us as usual.
Courtney, say hey.
Hello.
She sounds great in the mics, doesn't she?
Yeah.
These mics fit her very well. So I don't know, Courtney, you got a voice
She looks
for
like a
radio.
natural.
Yeah, she does.
At least you didn't say she has a face for radio.
All right.
You're so funny.
I've got the face for radio and the hairline. Yeah.
What hairline?
Yeah, right.
So that's how today's going to go.
I got to share a story, personal story. I was at my daughter's end of season cheerleading banquet last night, and one of the cheerleaders came up to me and said, "How do you get your head so shiny?" And I just said, I run it through the car wash and then I wax it, I don't know. I didn't know how to answer that question. And one
Put
of the
some
girls
turtle
said,
wax on it.
I guess I didn't. I know there's a lot of shiny bald-headed guys. I didn't know that I was the shiny one.
It is. Now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of shiny.
Yeah, maybe my pores. It's, that's all my oily head. I don't know. I had to laugh. But anyway,
Wait, so bald people actually don't put oil in their head?
I don't.
Do some people though?
I don't know.
Are you
Probably.
supposed to?
He's a new bald guy.
I think
He's
people
still
probably wax
learning.
their bald heads.
Wax them.
I don't know. Do they? There's some really shiny bald heads out there.
Get the buffer out.
I mean, I don't think mine looks that shiny, does it? It looks normal.
I can't say
I'm
I've ever thought
gonna
about
be
it.
honest. It looks like you have some highlighter on there right now.
I've put a little.
It's true. The light reflecting off.
Thank goodness this is not being recorded by video, right?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I think that people need to actually see it. We mentioned your bald head a lot. I
I
feel
need
like
to post a picture when this one comes out so people can see what you look like now.
I do shave it, and I do
Let me
put
take a
little
picture of your
aftershave
shiny
lotion
head.
on it. So you can post that on the social media account. So anyway,
Yes, Jordan did just take a picture for anyone out there wondering.
no, I'm gonna make it the episode cover.
oh, that's great. Well, this is a pretty big way to derail the podcast. That's my fault.
I did have a derailment question in mind. Has anybody decorated for Christmas?
No, come on.
I haven't either,
No.
but I was just asking.
My mom did try to get me to put lights up on her house 2 weeks ago.
Anybody in this group has not. Now, there's a bunch of people that have.
Oh, yeah.
Lights on the house is fine because
Yeah.
you want to do that while it's good
Yeah,
weather.
oh, I
I
agree.
support that.
I still didn't do it, but
But would she have turned them on?
no.
Is the question.
No.
Yeah, I get
she's
that.
a strict not till after Thanksgiving.
Ugh, this year just
That's
stinks
the
though
way it
because
should
there's
be.
literally
I agree.
only like 3
I don't
weeks.
even know if I'm going to put a tree up this year.
Yeah.
Do you own a tree? They're really expensive.
I have one that I inherited in college. I'm guessing it was probably a good 20 plus years old, and it's falling apart.
I love my fake tree. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The only problem I have is I have a relatively young kitten in the house, cat, and she would just probably wreak havoc on that thing.
Hold on now. I have a question. Are y'all fake tree people or real live tree people?
Fake tree.
I love my fake tree.
I grew up in a real tree household,
I did too.
and I loved it. And then when I was in high school, we started to do a fake tree, and I've been converted.
We got one. I've had one live tree in my life. That thing made such a mess.
They're horrible.
It was like, never again.
Well, I think the reason that we always had them is for the smell.
Absolutely.
But then they
course.
started making all those like pine and Douglas
Yes.
fir and you could get the specific smell that you want.
in your Scentsy or whatever.
No, you can. They
You
like
hang them on the tree.
You asked the question, so Courtney.
Oh,
You haven't given
live
us your-
tree. My
Okay.
family does a live tree. Even when I was at school, I even made my parents kind of wait so I could go cut down the
Good
tree
for
with
you.
them.
Hey, that's a tradition.
There you
We
go.
had them too. I'm lazy in my old age, and cheap.
I
you-
won't outgrow that.
See, and I think that like if you have kids, that's a different story. But for little kids, I think it definitely adds.
Sure.
Going to pick out a tree, and I remember doing that with my family. But now I'm just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Well, and I bought mine on clearance at the end of the season. So
Also, Mackie would he would eat it. He eats everything.
He would eat a fig tree too. So
but boundary program. So I'm actually going to have Courtney introduce this. Courtney is working on our True Source. What True Source?
Publication, little what?
Yeah,
6 times annually or quarterly. Is it quarterly?
Every other month.
Every other month. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just sent that in yesterday. So
I love it because she lets me work with her on it.
Semi-monthly. So. Well, anyways, Courtney is in charge of our True Source, and this month or semi-monthly episode article featured the boundary program. So, Courtney, what is the boundary program? Because this is new to TRULAND.
yes. So we have 2 boundary gators created that are AutoTrack ready with receivers and displays. So that gives the option for customers to either one of us TRULAND IS members go out and drive the boundaries for them, or we have the option that we can go out and teach them for like a couple fields, and then the customer can go and drive around the boundary for the rest. So far, it's kind of been popular, I'm guessing, because for some reason Joe keeps throwing things on my calendar for these, and I'm like, hold up, what?
It's popular. It's a popular item, and they're nice. We should say they got heaters in them, right? They're nice gators.
Yes.
They're pretty nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be our winter projects. Hopefully before the weather gets bad, they'll all be done.
It looks like you have next week and the week after.
So we're obviously going to be a fee in there, a smaller fee if they're going to do their own, and a little bit bigger fee if we drive them as well. But that includes, both of those include us getting things set up on the op center side, right? And some setup file, making sure those things are good and the data transfer is going to work good and various things like that. So it's kind of an all-inclusive program. And the idea is with some of these, I know we'll get into this, right? But with some of these automation items that we can use in our advanced technologies in our displays, that a lot of those are dependent on good boundaries, good quality boundaries. So the Gators is currently, I believe, set up with an SF RTK receiver.
Yes.
If customers want to use their own RTK receivers, then they're welcome to put that receiver on the Gator and swap those out. Obviously, RTK and SF RTK are going to have a little bit of difference in their accuracy levels as far as just where the lines are. So,
So for people who are converting from RTK, base station RTK to SF RTK, there is a conversion that we can do to help with that. However, we still, at the end of the day, are recommending that you redraw your lines, because the likelihood that you've been using those lines for years and years and years on base station RTK, it's just time to redraw them. I mean, you take out ditches, tree lines, fence rows, whatever. You put in a new driveway.
boundaries change. Boundaries
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Things
just do.
change.
Right, absolutely.
And over time they shift too. So
Yeah, tree lines change, and 5-10 years is a pretty long time to use a set of boundaries, you know.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, we got that rolling out this year. So I know Justin was excited about it. He thought that sounded pretty fun, going out driving boundaries. If it didn't have heater windshields, you might think differently.
All I could think back to was doing soil sampling back in college and not having a cab on the Gator I was on, and it was, a couple inches of snow on the ground, probably below zero wind chill, and I'm just out there freezing like nobody's business. And
been there, done that. So yeah, check with your local IS person, right? Your local salesperson. If you're interested in that program, it's going to be pretty popular. It's already starting to become popular. And our goal is to get our customers equipped to run automation and be prepared for those automation things. And having good quality boundaries is always going to be a place to start.
So I think that that's a perfect segue into soil testing. So Josh does a lot of soil testing analysis,
I do.
being an agronomist. So Josh, you want to kind of explain that process and
Well, yeah, I mean,
how boundaries play a role in that?
Yeah, boundaries for sure. So going back historically, obviously soil testing can be a little boring to talk about. I love it. It's been a part of my life for 27 years. But, the reality is, years and years ago, guys would take a hand soil map out. And I don't know how you did it in college, Justin, but would take a soil map out and literally just drive across in a pickup truck a hill and take some, a bunch of cores across this big, hill for 10 or 15 acres. And then obviously I always tell people, I was in college at a really good time, is when precision farming became a thing. When I graduated Purdue, it was becoming a thing. And then that's when we started using the GPS to do fields and field locations and field boundaries. And then, so obviously boundaries became a big part of managing those fields, including soil testing. And the first thing we did was 2.5 acre grids back then, right? That was our big thing. So that was a major change in the soil testing process, not only using the technology, but also the amount of soils that we pulled in the fields, right? We might pull 2 or 3 in a field. Now we're pulling like 20. So you're quadrupling what you're sending off to the lab. It allowed us to do that, that site-specific farming. That was a whole new thing, variable rate technology, and being able to visualize our field fertility in a geo-referenced picture and spreading fertilizer based on that. But obviously, field boundaries was the start of that, right? Having digitized field boundaries. So I drove my first field boundary in 1997.
You're aging yourself.
Yeah. Was anybody in here born? Who's the youngest? Were you born tonight? Courtney, when were you born?
2000.
So yeah, I did my first field boundary 3 years before you were born. That's crazy, right? Ironically, we're kind of doing the same thing. We've just gotten better technology to make them more accurate. I mean, I drove it in a Gator. Honestly, I used a Gator to do my first ever field boundary, a John Deere Gator. It was one of those the little 2-seater without a cab thingies.
6 wheels.
Yeah, it was a 4-wheeler. So. Yeah, that's going way back. But we had a receiver stuck on it and an old DOS-based laptop program stuck on it, and we drove our field
The one
boundary.
that you still use?
I just stopped using it 2 years ago, and I miss it very much. Great program. The only reason I stopped was because the hardware was dilapidated, and I couldn't find anything to keep it running. So we had to move on to the iPad. But yeah, field boundaries became a big part. And we want to talk a little bit about soil testing. I think that the important part of soil testing is maybe twofold. Number one, Justin and I work together in this business. I do a little bit of soil testing as this part of the business, but that's not something I think we can take on a lot more of. We've kind of, one person can do so much, and we don't have the resources to do a lot of the in-field work, but we do, Justin, have the opportunity to process a lot of soil tests that people can pull on their own and run it through some software programs that we have, and using the Op Center involvement in that as well. So we've been leveraging that a little bit, but a lot of people transitioned away from the 2.5 acre grids and into the soil type testing. Jordan, I'm waiting for you to chime in on something that you have experience with in this. But for the most part, I don't know. I think there's a lot of grids still being pulled, but a lot of us have gotten back into maybe more management zones of different types. So I'm a big soil type guy, and then also with the Op Center and the prescription writing app we have tied in with the Op Center, you can actually go back and look at historic yield data and make soil test regions from that as well. And that's been a lot more popular lately.
I was going to say, that's pretty easy to do because your yield maps are already integrated. So you pull a past yield map if you want to do this year's, last year's, whatever. If you're doing a rotation and want to pull last year's yield maps, you also have that capability right there at your fingertips. You can do it for soil type.
Sure.
There's a whole slew of things that you can do, and you can determine how many different zones you want to have. So I think there's a cap at like 13 or 14, but that is pretty high, especially for fields around here. So
it's a great tool. So I've started to use it a little more. I've always been soil type oriented, but a lot of times the soil type maps aren't accurate, or they're a little outdated. And yield history tells you a lot about your field, tells you maybe more than any soil type map will. And guys kind of know, hey, based on yield maps, this spot's always low. We're going to soil test this differently. Otherwise, you might miss that spot. So that's a really cool tool I think that a lot of guys are starting to use is just that historic yield data. And the Op Center makes it so simple to get to create those zones.
Especially the addition of wireless data transfer. I mean, now people are starting to expect to be able to see their yield as the combine moves in 30-second increments, and we're not quite there yet. That is a lot of data to process. But regardless, when you finish that field and pull out within, I'm going to say a couple hours to be safe, just depending on processing times and the size of field and et cetera, you have a full-on yield map. And it's right there available at your fingertips on your phone or in the Op Center. So for farm managers that are sitting back waiting for you to finish, I know that Josh, you have in soil testing situations, it sometimes is you're following the combine.
Absolutely. I love to know where my customers are when a field's ready.
Yeah.
And so that's a nice little tool, to kind of keep track of what's going on. And also the fertilizer companies, the ASPs, in non-testing years, a lot of times will take those yield maps and make a prescription based on crop removal. Directly off that yield data. So they can have that partnership with the grower and have access to that yield data and turn around and create a prescription with that yield data and send a spreader truck out there within honestly within minutes
Yeah.
of the combine leaving.
Yeah.
So, and that's become popular.
I do know that there is an AS and ag service provider. I'm working on the no acronyms thing. Man, that's a hard deer habit to kick. Not from deer, but deer just uses a lot of acronyms. Anyways, ag service provider. And there are quite a few where they're almost waiting on the combine because they have that connection. They see where they are. They see how they're moving. They see their productivity. They can estimate it. And not that it eliminates that channel of communication, but it just strengthens it that much more to where you don't need to interrupt somebody and say, hey, when are you going to be done? When are you going to be done? You can see it right there on your ops center.
Yep.
And then developing that partnership on Operations Center to where they can plug the data from your field. There's no more sending files. We don't have to drop off flash drives. It's all done wirelessly and virtually. I mean, it's changed tenfold. And it's fantastic.
It increases efficiency. And again, we don't want to take the person to person communication out, obviously, but there's just systems that make things work so much more smoothly, and that's one of them. And that's up to the grower if they want to have that partnership or not. Obviously, if they don't want to have it, they don't have to have it. But if they want to set that partnership up, partnerships are great.
Or if they want to limit their partnerships, so the fields that they can see and the yield maps that they can see are only the fields that they are going to be applying fertilizer on for this year. If you have 5 of your 10 fields you're going to be putting fertilizer on, then those are the 5 that you let them see.
Yep. Yeah, and that works in other ways too. I had a customer call me earlier today that does custom harvesting for his cousin, and he wanted to set up a partnership so that the cousin could reach over and grab or reach over and see his yield maps, and I was going to set that up to where they could pull the data, from one account to another account through a partnership. So there's, custom. We have a lot of custom farming, custom manure applications, and things like that, where those partnerships really make it great to get that data from one account to another seamlessly. So anyway, yeah, I mean, as far as the soil
and the boundaries really add to it because you can share those too.
Yep. So back to the soil testing again. I mean, I love soil testing. I love talking about it. I know it can be kind of boring to talk about, but the technologies, it has changed. It has gotten better. And some of the tools that we have today actually do have an effect on how we actually test soils and create our soil testing zones. And like I said, Justin and I have been working a little bit. We've got a couple customers that want to pull their own soil test, and they want us to process the data for them. So we've worked with a couple of GIS software programs. Learning one in particular that's had a little bit of a learning curve for me.
It's been interesting.
So, but that particular program actually does work in conjunction with the Ops Center because we can have partnerships in the Ops Center. We can also have those software connections. The Ops Center is not an necessarily 100% agronomic tool. It does want you to partner with maybe some other software programs if you're going to dive into soil testing, some things like that. That's when you have those connections, software connections, and so there's a lot. How many connections do we think we have available to us now in the Ops Center?
I don't know,
Is that
150.
hundreds? It's over 100.
Yeah, it's over 100.
Yeah.
Do you mean to fact check it?
Can. Some of those are agronomic programs. Some of those are farm management programs. Some of those are profit analysis programs.
Yep.
Off color, right? We can partner with other color machineries and move data that way. So they're a great tool to have.
And seed platforms, that's also a big thing.
Yep. So that change or trading and sharing of agronomic data where you want to do that. If you have an agronomist or private agronomist that's using a different software platform, he can partner up and connect his software program to the Ops Center and pull your yield data in. And they work great. It's really great. So you're going to give us the number of connections. You're not counting them, are you?
Maybe.
She's counting them one by one.
I just keep seeing her screen scroll.
It makes for
We'll
great
find
radio
out by the end of the podcast.
Great radio. So
she's getting close. It's fine.
anyway, Jordan.
1 second.
She still counts. She might as well count out loud, right?
Yeah.
I think this is going to lead us into another discussion about a certain software connection we have available to us. Are you doing math on your phone?
Yeah. 168. I said 150.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's the closest without
But
going over.
did you get the last one there?
Okay, 169.
Oh, goodness.
But you guys were talking to me, and I get a little distracted sometimes, so easily could be off a couple. I'm going to say between 150 and 200.
Nice. And one of those connections is something that we probably need to move into next, and that's harvest profit.
Yeah. I think that I really don't think that you can talk about. We've talked about financial components. We've talked about record keeping. In terms of yield on Op Center, and I think that we would be remiss without talking about Harvest Profit.
I agree.
So Harvest Profit is not run by Deere. That's not a Deere program, but they are very well integrated with Deere. I think that John Deere's intention is not to, and I don't know, they don't tell me this information. This is just me guessing from my seat and my perspective here, but I don't think that their goal in any of the Op Center world and creating that platform is ever to be a record-keeping software. I mean, they're a machine manufacturer, and they've been very forthcoming about that's their goal: machine analytics, machine data.
Right. A data hub. Op Center's a data hub. That's what I tell everybody. It's a great hub for your data, and then you have these little fingers that can reach out to other connected software companies.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you are going to talk about record-keeping software in terms of a financial record-keeping software, it doesn't get much better than Harvest Profit.
I agree, and I don't want to let Justin have a lot to say here, but we've seen a lot of programs come through over the years and sat and listened to a lot of presentations, and sometimes you leave underwhelmed. This Harvest Profit is a phenomenal program. It's the one that I was like, okay, now that's a great program, and it integrates very well with the Op Center.
When we were in their Harvest Profit training, info session, whatever you want to call it, when they were introducing it to us and to our team at TRULAND, I think that every single thing that I'm like, that's something that we would need to keep track of. That's something that we should think about. Every single time I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this. That was the next item on their agenda. It just is all encompassing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts, Justin.
Yeah, no. I mean, Harvest Profit, as far as a program, the partnership with Deere has existed for maybe 2 years now, year and a half.
A couple years, yeah.
Yeah, and
For sure that it's been public, yeah.
yeah, and so just like Josh pointed out, it has that capability, that connection with Operations Center. So, I really, as we've learned about it, I've grown to love it a lot more. I am not a trained accountant in any way. None of us in this room are. And all I could ever think about with that was going back to growing up. My mother's a trained accountant, and some of those insights were imprinted on me. And all I could ever think about was being taught on the large paper spreadsheets, because that's what she insisted on using, was the large paper desktop spreadsheets, and thinking about how far we've come with some of our capabilities. A lot of the functions of the program itself, it's going to be the things that you do today on an Excel sheet, or the things that you do today in a notebook or on a piece of paper or on one of those large paper spreadsheets. But think about how many times keeping track of everything, you miss something, or you forget something, or it's hard to find a detail that you need in there. The software is very intuitive, and being tied in with Op Center just makes it that much better, because you're not having to go pull those numbers. You're not having to go keep track of everything. The software is going to do it for you. And just like Jordan said, every time I think, oh, it's going to be missing in this capability, or it's going to be missing this, and they're going to need to improve on this, I haven't caught anything like that. Yeah. It's completely customizable. It's going to have everything. It's designed for a farm. So it has everything a farm management side of accounting is going to need. Plus, it has the customizable side of it to make it capable for everybody, because nobody runs their operation the same.
That's right.
Nobody's using the same programs. Nobody's using the same exact set of tools.
And you can go in as deep as you want.
Absolutely.
And I've got a 200-acre farmer that loves it. I know there's massive farmers. And great point about the spreadsheet, because the guys that use it tell me, hey, I'm going to spend all this time on a spreadsheet anyway. I might as well just spend that time in this program, building
it's saved. It's intuitive enough to do a lot of those figures for you.
That's right.
And
it pulls that as applied data. And anytime you can visualize, the other part of that is anytime you can visualize, going kind of back to the soil testing thing. What I love about soil testing is I can visualize the soil results on a map. I can see it based on the colors and the different results and levels. It's the same kind of thing in Harvest Profit. You can visualize and looking at a profit map. Yeah. You can spray a test strip of a product, and you can visualize whether that paid or not, and what the profit level was on that. I mean, you can visualize it as well. So it's again, I'm not just saying that. We've seen a lot of programs that have come up short, and Harvest Profit is the one that I walked away thinking, man, this is a good tool, and it's done nothing but get better. So We're going to probably, hopefully down the road, have some support packages maybe where we can work with this. And
their support is independent of Deere, but it is phenomenal.
Yeah. Some startup packages, I guess, because there is a initial kind of startup. It takes some work, takes some effort, takes some time, and then obviously getting that tie-in to the Ops Center. The other side of this is as-applied data.
Yeah,
incredibly important.
That's where I kind of, coming from the background that I have in my current position, kind of seeing a farm managed day to day, I think that that's really where I see it shine. So you talked about visualizing a profit map. Well, what I really like is the ability to, and I said earlier, I like tissue tests better than soil tests, but what I really like is the ability to truly decide how much money you're going to spend. We talked about variable rate. Are we going to, and as we get into the future and all of this stuff becomes precision farming where we are managing it on such a small index and small level, I think that that's really where we're going to see it shine. So we can determine, okay, these high management acres, what's our budget for that versus our low management acres? And
does it pay? What's paying?
Yeah, exactly. So if we only are going to put our strong foliars on X amount of acres versus, and we're going to cut these acres out because it just doesn't pay, but it does pay on these acres, or tank mixes. We have talked about tank mixes for so long, and that's probably, before it was probably a niche. The across the board applicable nature in terms of application data, I think, is tank mixes. So those tank mixes, you document everything that you have in there, that flows directly into harvest profit. And all you have to do is input the amount of what you purchase that chemical for in your carrier. And then, which typically carrier water, but for somebody who's using even RO,
right.
I mean, you can factor all of that into it. And it's just so specific. And I think that it's getting 1,000 more insights than you ever would rounding your chemical up to the nearest 50 cents.
Right. And like we said in some previous podcasts, tank mixes are complicated today.
Super complicated.
There's a lot of stuff going into a tank mix. And if guys would take the time, encourage listeners and growers to take the time to build those tank mixes ahead of time. And I know sometimes you just don't know, hey, we may add this, we may add a volunteer corn. I get that. You can make a few different tank mixes. But being able to put a little bit of effort into those and some details into those gives you a really good result of on the financial side after the fact. But as applied data is key. We've said that for years and years, and we've tried to get people to even log their tillage data. If you're crossing your field and doesn't matter what you're doing, log the data because that's going to come in useful at some point. Yeah. Even on the tillage side, when you're talking about fuel usage and things like that,
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about using TruSet, so you have different depth set for different soil types. Okay, just as an example. You can literally see the difference in your fuel usage at different tillage depths and then factor that into your overall fuel usage and your cost for covering a typical tillage pass that we would have used X rate in our brains or on our spreadsheet. We would put in X flat rate of we probably use that many gallons of fuel. And like I said, you are getting down to micromanaging your expenses in your pocketbook, and it is crazy.
Yeah.
Also, See and Spray, the inclusion of that, and as that comes, so we're going to talk about chemical savings. So say you have a 59.87% in chemical savings. How in the world? I mean, you can plug it into the formula of I would have used $14 and then, total, and then equate that, take 59.87, whatever I just said, off of that, and then that's your cost. But is it really?
Right.
And so I think that as we get into some of these, an exact shot, that's another one, perfect example, where we're actually using the data, the as applied data, to equate that to a actual used product dollar figure.
Yep. And
it's crazy.
And obviously, we're going beyond. We're going a little bit beyond Field Analyzer, which we probably need to get into as well. But again, the reason I love these tools, like again the software program, the Field Analyzer, the agronomic tools, is for so many years we looked at whole fields and how did we make out on this whole field. We're really have the ability to scrutinize subfield, which we have had for a while, but we probably haven't dove in maybe as deep as we should have. But if guys spray a half an acre of a foliar, I want to see what that half an acre did. And then obviously,
and before it was just half an acre.
Yeah,
it's not even.
but
We're documenting yield on a per acre basis. It doesn't really matter.
Right. But we have the ability to log these things, and we have the displays have an amazing ability to log. We got guys that are putting on, a lot of guys that are putting on 2 row starter products, right? Infro and 2x2, and we have the ability to log both of those in the displays and set those up.
And then some people that are putting on 2 products in each of those. So.
Absolutely. Multiple products. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Some organics and things like that. So we have that ability to see what's going to pay. And again, on a year where the markets are down and you're scrutinizing those kind of decisions, having the tools like Field Analyzer and Harvest Profit to truly be able to tell what's paying and what's not comes at a premium, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I think that just kind of a full circle moment for this episode goes back to boundaries. So
Yeah.
I've been working on, a couple issues this week with guys that had incorrect boundaries, and their yield maps are a little wonky because of it. And they're not a perfect reflection of where their acres harvested were or what the yield was in that, and trying to rework that, where if they just would have had great boundaries, we could have had the data, we could have plugged that in, we could have run it through Harvest Profit, and all would have been this nice, pretty bow Christmas tree.
Yeah. Problem solved. Back to the Christmas tree.
Yeah. Our full circle Christmas boundary moment here.
Right. So anyway, what else? Any other thoughts, closing thoughts on that, Justin or Courtney, or good tools?
Yeah. I mean, the theme here of today has been some of the programs that we offer as a dealership, right? And, there's a lot of different offerings out there, and we're just trying to offer a few different options, whether it be the boundary program that we are creating internally, or whether it be softwares that, Deere's made partnerships with that we can offer to our customers. And I'll get on a short soapbox here, but, growing up in ag, we all can see this. I've always been a firm believer that there's been, let's say, 3 different primary evolutions to ag, especially here in the U.S. To me, that's, we had equipment. We developed equipment. We were able to farm larger acres in quicker time more efficiently. Then we have the agronomic evolution, where we came up with varieties. We came up with hybrids. We came up with new chemicals. We were able to have better yields in that sense. I think we are in the heart of that next evolution, where technology is the next step. Obviously, like Josh said earlier, we've had a lot of features that we're using today we've had for 20 or 25 years, right? But we're still developing those, and we're at that point now. Farming's so much different than it was 40 or 50 years ago. We can't just, like Jordan was pointing out, we can't just throw inputs at an acre and hope to get the best yield anymore. Yes, we can do that, but at the end of the day, that may not be the best option for the longevity of the farm.
Right.
And so what I love about some of the offerings that we have today, some of the different softwares we have, some of the different programs, a customer can use those in whatever combination they want to be the most profitable they can on their farm.
Yeah, I think
that's a good point.
I think that's a good point, because I think that overall we see a lot of people not utilizing their data at all.
Right.
I mean, there are literally people out there that will collect years and years and years and years of data, and they end up wiping their screen and never uploading it to anywhere.
Right.
Never looking at it again. What's the point in documenting it?
That's been my spiel, pounding the table spiel. It's like we spend a lot of money to collect that data too.
Yeah.
To do that. And
not us, them.
Right. No, I agree. And I tell them, you spend a lot of money to do that. Let's make that data work for us. And kind of tying that together with what you said, Justin, you're right. I mean, we've expanded these technologies, and you really see an uptick in the usage when you start talking about the implement guidance in AutoPath. And I know we'll get into AutoPath, some new AutoPath features here in a second. I mean, you guys can use whatever they want, and I feel like they're starting to. I think they're really starting to dive into it more.
Yeah.
They get a little taste of it, and the machine syncs, and they're like, man, this works. This is great. And they're you can almost feel it,
Yeah.
But back to the agronomic side, I mean, yeah, we've got an evolution of technology, but we've still, and Jordan can vouch for this, the amount of biologicals and all these additives that continue to come into the marketplace as well. There's just a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of decisions to make, a lot of what technologies do I want to use, what inputs do I want to use, what additives do I want to use, and we've got, again, the technologies to figure these things out, what's paying, what's not paying. And guys, this is the year where guys need to look, need to really look.
Absolutely.
And I think they are.
And I think that what's nice about deer is, one, this is really easy to jump into. This is not something where it's an all or nothing solution. And if you're not using harvest profit, driving your boundaries, all the things that we're talking about on here, then you're going to be left behind. That's not the case at all.
Right.
Like I said, we have guys that literally have not even uploaded their data that they've been collecting for the last 15 years. So, and if that is you and you fall into that, please give us a call.
Try something, right? Take a step.
Yeah.
Take a step.
Op Center is free. Harvest Profit does come with a fee, an annual fee. But Op Center is free. Just upload your data and look at it.
Take a step.
Because what you see in the combine might look a little bit different when you get an overall picture.
Yep.
And I know that if you've been covering those acres for years and years and years, you know it like the back of your hand, and you know it way better than I ever could. I get it. But at the same time, the data doesn't lie and it doesn't have a bias.
No. And I live in Field Analyzer this time of year. I mean, this is the agronomist
Field
dream.
Analyzer's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have had customers that have never used it and said, hey, how do I tell my variety, yield by variety? And I say, it's you push two buttons and you're there.
Yeah.
And we're looking at some of our tests we've put out. We'll cover some of those in a later podcast. And
I've done a lot of this year. Yield and yield loss by harvest date.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's been so much of that. Or by planting date.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you can actually do that and go back and pull your planting date.
Big differences this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people will say, okay, so I planted before this 3-inch rain. So I got it in May 22nd. And then I had to hold out till June 15th.
Yeah.
What's the difference
Yeah.
there?
And some of them might surprise you. I mean, again, you and I talked about the yield by soil types this year, which is a pretty simple phenomenon. But some of those soil types that carry these fields actually came up disappointing this year,
Yeah.
going back to the spring. So
Yeah. But I mean, we had a heavy drought.
yeah, and
so-
a wet spring followed by a drought.
Yeah.
And that's the
So,
combination
I mean,
you don't want.
If you want to talk about shocking the system, well, that's one way to do it. I'll tell you right then
Right.
and there.
So it's there. The information's there. Just gotta click in and it's not too difficult to find out some answers on some stuff.
And start small. I mean, I don't think that this is a situation where you have to jump in
Yep.
head first. I start small.
Start in a kiddie
And-
pool.
Yeah, start in the
The
kiddie
2 foot
pool.
in, right?
But as you start to get your feet wet, and man, we're really using a lot of pool analogies here.
Christmas trees and pools today, right? Opposite ends of the season.
Yeah, I guess. But as you start to get your feet wet, give us a call, and we're here to help. And that's quite literally what we do, is help people get the most out of their data. So,
Yeah. That being said,
not saying that you have to use all this technology, but one technology that is super easy to use, super easy to use, is AutoPath boundaries.
game changer.
I mean, AutoPath was always it's a pretty complex system. I think everybody in this room can agree. AutoPath is AutoPath. And if you use it, you have to understand how it works and why it works and the inner workings of that to really make it work to your advantage.
And the pre-work, you have to have your ducks in a row on the front end of that.
Or or else you're not gonna love it.
Right.
And I love AutoPath.
Yeah.
AutoPath is fantastic. But yeah.
Starting with that implement receiver and implement guidance, there's some things that go into that AutoPath rows that you have to be thinking about ahead of time.
Yeah, you have to turn it on the Op Center, Justin.
Yeah.
To start, turn it on the display, turn on the op center, just do some signal sharing, have your receivers set and measured right.
Yeah.
AutoPath boundaries is a little different.
Yeah, it requires driven, high fidelity boundaries. And aside from that, it requires an activation.
Yeah. Yeah, which you're probably already going to have if you're looking at doing the other AutoPath.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think that, and it does take some time because that is some Op Center work that you have to do. But if you're already working with us to do your boundaries, or if you're driving your boundaries yourself, that's totally fair game too. It takes some pre-work to set up those AutoPath boundaries for each field. But once you do it, you do it.
So I know it's just like it sounds. It's
I never
AutoPath
explained
boundaries,
it.
But
Yeah,
tell us
sorry.
what it is, because you and I
Yeah.
have dabbled with it, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So I had a customer in the early release program this spring. And it's so funny because this customer is one who said, well, I don't have my driven boundaries, but I drew them on the computer and they are fantastic. I have zoomed in and zoomed in and zoomed in. And and then went out and ran them. And he realized he was a good 15 feet off from his perfect computer boundary. So essentially what I'm saying when I'm saying that he did some pre-work and made the AutoPath boundaries files, just like AutoPath will generate a pass-to-pass guidance line based on your implement width.
Based on your boundary.
Based on your boundary to reduce point rows and then just maximize your number of passes across the field because time is money and fuel is expensive and all of that jazz. So you get to decide the direction that you want to farm it. You can do it for reduced number of passes. You could do it at an angle. However, whatever works for you in that situation. But where it really shines is planting, where you're not using AutoPath. You want to record your AutoPath rows file, but you just have bare soil where you want to create a file, an AutoPath boundary file to maximize efficiency across the field. And like I said, that AutoPath rows file, you're generating that from your planting seeding map. So you really don't want those point rows in there. You want clean turns. You want all of that already integrated into it. And AutoPath boundaries does that.
So AutoPath boundaries, again, if you're not doing the strip till pass, this is the first legitimate pass. And using that boundary, all you need is a boundary and the activation. And it's amazing when you're in the op center and you make that file and you put it on the display and it opens up and
it's there.
It's there.
Also, something that's super crazy about, and for guys on 2630 train, you might remember this. You can edit your you can edit your guidance lines. In Gen 4s, we saw that option go away. AutoPath boundaries, you can edit from your display in the cab. So if you set it as a 3 degree and you pull in and you think that that's way too sharp, pull it back.
Yep. This is going to be, I think, probably one of the biggest quickly adopted technologies we've had.
It's just so easy.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so easy. And it is truly designed for tillage and planting.
Yep. Yeah. When you just pull into that field and want to go.
Yeah.
And again, we've had guys that we've worked with that said, I don't really.
You can include them in work plans too.
Well, but straight lines are easy, but it's that outside of the field that sometimes guys struggle with having a bunch of, if you have a field that's got, 10 different sides and point rows and this and that.
And it'll round off corner. I mean, it'll do everything that you want it to.
Yeah.
So
it's an awesome tool. So
and you set how many number of end row passes you want.
Yep.
It'll drive you. I mean, it literally drives you around the border, and then it starts to fill in the rest of your field to minimize point rows.
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. So starts with good boundaries.
Good boundaries.
Good boundaries.
I think we need a sound effect there.
Oh, good
Starts
boundaries.
with good boundaries.
Yeah, good boundaries. So again, we hit on the AutoPath thing. I mean, this is a when you have a guy that's not strip tilling, because strip tilling, when you want to do it the way to maximize the technology, and you put that receiver on the strip till bar, you're doing implement guidance, you're laying out your source AutoPath source rows, and then you're following those up with the planner. But for the guys that don't strip till, AutoPath rows has given us that starting point, right? Or AutoPath boundaries has given us that starting point because we don't have that strip till pass. So that's kind of the gateway into AutoPath. And then even if you're not using AutoPath, you can still use AutoPath boundaries.
Yeah.
Even if you're not using AutoPath roads, you can still use AutoPath boundaries.
Yeah, and you'll still get a better, more optimized planting pass than what you would. Obviously, it's designed to use in conjunction with rows, but there's plenty of people that use some of these automation features not as their intended use. And I mean, within certain limitations, it works for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's that first pass. Again, guys don't want to touch a steering wheel if they don't have to, right?
Yeah.
Right? True or false?
I think we all know the answer to that.
Right. So
considering how busy we get spring and fall when people are actually in their tractors and their auto track goes out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those things that takes away a lot of those steering wheel touches on the end rows.
Yeah. And I think what's also cool about this is that you get to run this feature while simultaneously recording your AutoPath rows files.
Yep. And then you're set for the season.
Yeah. Like you don't have to choose one or the other. And all it takes is you setting up a file for each of your fields before season.
Good boundaries and an activation.
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
And some time.
Yeah. A little bit
So
of
that
time.
customer that I was talking about, he had his early teens son do all of his fields for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he probably loved every second of it.
Oh
too.
yeah. He got it done so quick. He was like, he got it done in half the time it would have taken me.
Nice.
So super simple. Yeah.
What else you want to talk about? Are we done? I'll wrap this up.
Sure.
Any other thoughts?
Wrap
Parting
it up.
thoughts?
Another Christmas pun.
We haven't heard much from Courtney, and her voice sounds so good in that microphone.
You know, you did say the theme of this episode. I think the theme of this episode is like the island of misfit John Deere tools.
The island
like
of misfit tools.
Man, this is really we need to chill. Is there any Thanksgiving puns we can say? Courtney, give us a Thanksgiving reference here.
I don't know. My
I
mind
have no idea.
My mind always goes to Charlie Brown. Anything, we've already talked about the Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Did you watch the Charlie Brown, like the pumpkin?
The Great Pumpkin. I
Yeah.
love the Charlie Brown stuff. I do.
Yeah.
I don't
All
know
I
why.
ever think is turkey in the straw.
Yeah, well, they make popcorn. Remember how weird the meal, toast and popcorn for the meal on the Thanksgiving episode. So
That's what a child would make for
yeah,
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Well, we do have popcorn machines at almost all our dealerships, so that's good. So
Yeah. Just another excuse to come in and see us and talk to us about AutoPath boundaries.
right. And Harvest Profit. Any other thoughts on that, Justin? We're gonna hopefully get some guys to try that out here.
Yeah.
and work with.
No,
them.
I mean, the only thought I have is if you're listening to this and it sounds like something you'd be interested in,
it's the right time of year. To do
absolutely.
this.
So I'd say maybe start of the year, reach out to your CST, reach out to your salesman. If you got questions about it, we'll get you hooked up and we'll get you down that path.
It's good. You got to have some setup time, some office time to get that up and rolling. So it's much better to start now than it is April 1. Yeah. That's probably not
Please
possible.
don't think we can start at April.
If you are going to spend some time in the computer and you're working your way through Field Analyzer or Op Center for the first time, I will say we do have a webinar coming up, a post-harvest webinar, and we are going to talk about debriefing your data collection, data analysis. So be sure to register for that as well.
Yeah. How we going to notify them? Emails and social media, I'm assuming, will be announcing that.
There has been an email created, and then flyers and handouts once they're just printed.
Yeah. It takes a few hours of their time. A good way to brush up on some things and wrap the season up. So, come free to come as you are. Right?
Maybe we'll put a registration link in the description of this podcast.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, with that, we'll see you later.
Talk to you next time.